Okay, so I want today's video to be a reminder about what's actually happening to immigrants, tourists, and even US citizens south of the border. Because Canadians are not immune to any of this. And I actually have an interview coming up that is going to prove this. Whether it's ICE or CBP, you've got two government agencies that are actively looking for reasons to detain people, and it doesn't take much. Today I have a report about a UK citizen who was detained while having a pending green card. I also have a video that shows the panic that happens the second ICE shows up. It actually saddens me that this has become a daily, probably even hourly reality in much of the United States. And last, one of our Blue Sky viewers sent me an Instagram clip of a US citizen that now lives in British Columbia, comparing life in Canada to life in the United States. So we're going to get into all of that in today's video. Before we start, today's backdrop was sent in from Elizabeth from New Brunswick. She took this photo of Miramichi River. Beautiful sunset shot. Thank you again for sending this in, Elizabeth. All right, let's jump into the first report about the detained UK citizen.
A routine morning bike ride turned into federal detention for one UK citizen living in Havre.
Yesterday, while he was riding his bicycle to go shopping for Christmas, a Border Patrol agent pulled in front of him and demanded that he get into the vehicle.
On Thursday afternoon, Carla Kinney received a call from her husband, Justin Grzeb, telling her he had been detained at the Havre Customs and Border Patrol office and that she needed to bring his paperwork and passport.
It's become normal in the US for people to carry their documents, IDs, passports, and a passport card everywhere they go, out of the fear of being picked up by ICE, just like that UK citizen. I've done interviews with US citizens in the past, and even they are carrying their passport card despite being a US citizen, and all of this just to protect themselves. For those of us who are Canadian, can you imagine having to carry your Canadian passport around your own town? Like for example, walking through Metrotown in Burnaby, or Eaton Centre in Toronto, having your passport with you just in case. All of this because you're worried you might get stopped. We hear these stories all the time through the US media, but I still can't fully wrap my head around what it must feel like to constantly worry like this, especially if your skin color isn't the preferred one, or if you have an accent.
They told me even though all my paperwork was in order, everything had been done right, they would not release my husband. They were going to arrest him, detain him, and deport him.
The couple married in April and hired an attorney to help them through the marriage-based green card process. Justin has completed his biometrics appointment, and all that was left was his required immigration interview.
He's actively building a life with me here and becoming a member of the community, and he was literally snatched off the streets.
Carla says a Border Patrol agent told her Justin had been actively looked for and seemed to have information from their green card application. Though Justin previously overstayed his visa, the overstay is typically forgiven once a marriage-based green card is filed. And the couple's attorney says he is legally allowed to remain in the U.S. while the application is pending.
So if an immigration lawyer says that he's legally allowed to be in the country while everything is pending, and that is the actual law, what is the issue then? My guess? Maybe it was a previous overstay. Maybe that's what they're hanging on to. But is it me, or does it feel like CBP and ICE are looking for any tiny thing to pin on somebody? Like if they had it on record that you jaywalked once, they'd probably say that's enough reason to detain you.
The government's position forever, since before I started practicing 30 years ago, has been that once you file a green card application, you are legally present in the US while it is pending, until it either gets approved or denied. If it's denied, then you're no longer in legal status, but you're in legal status the whole time it's pending.
Carla says Justin is being transported to a detention facility in Tacoma, Washington, though she has been unable to track his location in the federal system.
There's a lot of people that say that immigrants need to go through the correct process and do it the right way. Well, Justin and Carla were going through the correct process.
Justin will now go before a judge where it will be decided if he will be deported back to the UK. MTN reached out to U.S. Customs and Border Protection in Havre for comment, but has not received a response by airtime.
This is just one person out of thousands who are being detained every single day. Not everyone gets airtime. Not everyone gets a chance to share what actually happened to them. Which is why, in a few weeks, I'm going to be helping someone get their story out. Someone who was detained for months without any support from the US media to get his situation out there. It's unfair what's happening to so many people being detained. And if I can help raise awareness and highlight the details that we never hear from the media on either side of the border, I'm going to do what I can. Now, ICE has no limits on who they'll go after. Even Caroline Levitt had someone in her extended family detained by ICE. Okay, maybe not extended family, more like the mother of her brother's son. I guess they're divorced or not together anymore or something like that. According to the CNN article, Levitt's sister-in-law, who is from Brazil, was detained for overstaying her tourist visa in 1999. That's how far back they dig. Now, it looks like Levitt and her sister-in-law haven't spoken in years, so who knows? Maybe she doesn't even care that her own family is detained. I'll let you guys decide on this one. But it shows one thing clearly: no one is immune. Now, this next clip, I wanted to show to everyone because we rarely get to see the raw panic and the real emotions that people feel the moment that they hear that ICE is in the area. It's one thing to read about it and to see it on the US media. It's another to actually see how people react in real time.
We need more assistance down those, at those entrances. Hi, Donald. This is Lily from Our Bridge. I'm just calling because we had reports that ICE is probably on campus. We were wanting to see if we could make rounds.
Inside, please.
This after-school program in East Charlotte has been a safe space for immigrant children.
Yes, in the front entrance.
But today, there are reports that Customs and Border Patrol agents are approaching.
And I'd like people down at this entrance as well to just watch that door.
Staff rush to lock down the building.
They do not have the right to be on this. This is private property.
They say this is the second day in a row that immigration enforcement has showed up.
As I mentioned at the start of the video, this is becoming the norm for so many towns and so many people across the US. And seeing this kind of raw emotion, it hits a lot harder than any polished US media report that we ever watch. It puts a human face on the situation. But take a step back for a second and look at this from a bird's eye view. US citizens en masse, rounding up people, undocumented, documented, and even US citizens and tourists, all treated as guilty before proven innocent.
Or the land of the free.
The land of the free. Doesn't really feel like it these days, does it? To everyone in Canada and to our allies watching from abroad, take this moment to appreciate the countries you come from and the fact that this isn't happening within your borders.
We're walking up right now to a CBP sighting here.
In a statement to the Times, the Department of Homeland Security stated it did not target a school or daycare and denied trying to enter or make any arrests near the building. Across Charlotte, more than 370 people have been arrested so far, sending large parts of the immigrant community here into hiding.
A lot of families, even regardless of legal status, they're afraid and they're staying home.
People aren't going to work, businesses are closing, and kids aren't going to school. According to city officials, about 20% of the city's student population was missing from school on Monday.
La verdad, sí vivimos con una gran incertidumbre, porque de hecho nosotros, no sé si fue el sábado, que agarraron a un vecino por acá. Carros acá rondando, se iban para allá. Entonces dije yo, esto deben de ser de la policía, porque los de ICE, porque entraban rondando así, se iban para allá, y de ahí para allá, y dije yo, wow, nos andan cazando.
Hunting is unfortunately the right word here, especially when we keep seeing videos of ICE and CBP agents looking like they're actually enjoying what they're doing. It's disturbing to watch, and even worse to think about how normal this has become.
Maria asked to only be identified by her first name for fear of being arrested. She said she and her husband, who are both undocumented, and their 3 children have not left home in 4 days.
El más grandecito pues ya va comprendiendo las cosas. Él a veces me pregunta, mami, ¿por qué no salimos? Mami, ¿por qué no voy a la escuela? Con esto de ICE, uno se preocupa mucho porque hay mucha separación de las familias con los niños, no respetan a los niños.
Our Bridge suspended its after-school program after Border Patrol showed up on Monday. Its staff is now delivering food and essentials to families like Maria's, who remain in hiding with their children.
These specific families that we're heading to right now, they contacted our team and they let us know what specifically they needed. So that's what we're dropping off?
Hola, soy Chris. Con Average for Kids tenemos un paquete de comida para ti.
In just 2 days, their number of requested deliveries jumped from 40 to 267.
Muchas gracias. Gracias a Dios.
Gracias.
Maria said she doesn't know when the immigration operation will end, but she and her husband will stay home until it does.
Al tiempo que tenemos, es primera vez que vivimos algo así, estar encerrados, porque estamos encerrados.
267 families, just in this one small town, are hiding. Now zoom out for a second. How many families do you think are doing the same across the entire United States? If you're still watching, I'm curious how this is hitting you, compared to the usual biased mainstream media clips I show. For me, this report with the raw emotion, the panic, the human side of it, it does hit a lot harder for me. It makes me think about this on a personal level, not just stats and numbers that the media tosses around. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Now for this last clip, a US citizen who recently moved up to British Columbia, he shares the main differences he's noticing, the things that we do as Canadians compared to what he's used to south of the border.
I'm an American who moved to Canada with my family 2 years ago. I get a lot of people asking about the differences between living in the two countries, so I thought I'd do a little series. I'll talk about cultural differences first, but stick around if you want to hear about the affordability or healthcare situations. So, disclaimer, I spent most of my life in the Midwest US, but I've been all over, and now I live in British Columbia. Not trying to claim people from either country are a monolith, just gonna talk about my experiences. Religion is a big one. In America, Christianity was pretty woven into the fabric of everyday life. It was the default religion. Here in Canada, I see plenty of churches, mosques, and synagogues, but it's more of a personal thing that doesn't come up often in day-to-day conversation. Politicians don't really talk about their religion much in Canada either, which is cool. As a father of young girls, when I was out alone with my kids in the USA, it was pretty common to get stares, little old ladies asking me if I needed help, people congratulating me on quote-unquote babysitting, and so on. That doesn't really happen here in Canada. Nobody bats an eye at a dad being a dad. Gun culture is a big one. There's a whole day of mourning in Canada for the 14 women who were killed at a university in 1989. The US has almost 100 times as many school shootings as Canada, so there just wasn't the same sort of unanimous social grief for gun violence victims.
There's also not enough days in the year to have a day of mourning for all the shootings that happen in the United States. They far exceeded the 365 days on a calendar year. No disrespect to any of the victims. I'm just pointing out that it wouldn't even be possible to do in the United States.
I'm not a gun guy myself, so I really like living in a place where you don't see stuff like people carrying handguns to church or armed guards in grocery stores. Living here recently has been interesting to say the least, because after Trump started the 51st state thing, Canadians really rallied together in a way that reminded me, strangely, of post 9/11 America. Boycotts are still happening. You go to grocery stores and all the stuff from Canada is labeled. American liquor was just straight up yanked off the shelves. Canadians are incredibly kind, but you'd have to be an idiot to mess with them. These folks will never forget the past several months, and getting targeted ads from Disney World or Las Vegas begging them to resume normal tourism is just making them dig in their heels more.
You got that right. The more I hear US tourism and government officials sending promos, deals, coupons, the more that actually pushes me away. Let me know in the comments if you agree with this. It is refreshing to hear from US citizens on social media, and I'm really hoping he gets through to whoever his audience is. But he's totally correct. Canadians are not going to forget what happened in 2025. And like I've said in previous videos, I will never forget how Canada was treated by the US for the rest of my life. I'm always going to look at the US with caution moving forward. That's it for today's video. Before I go, I want to remind everyone about the Guard the Leave subreddit. It's a place where you can share articles, videos, you can rant, and even post memes on what's happening right now with our neighbor. I'm honestly shocked how many of you have joined, and we're almost at 1,000 members right now. We'll probably be over that by the time this video goes live. Reddit is free to use, and there's no cost. It's just a place to gather, talk with like-minded people, and share your thoughts with each other. So check it out when you have a moment. And if you have a topic or article you want to discuss, post it up and start a conversation with your peers. And one last thing, thank you to the mods on Reddit for helping to keep things civil and organized. And also thank you to my mods on YouTube as well. I really appreciate your support. Have a good rest of the day, everyone.